Hi there everyone and welcome. My name is Megan, also known as Magnifinits, and you are on episode 3 of the 1/4 Cables podcast, a subsidiary of the Cables and Cotton podcast. I am podcasting here at my home today. It is Thursday, September 22nd. We are 2 days into fall, the official fall weather, and it's kind of cloudy outside, but pretty warm. I want to thank you so much for coming here today and watching as I show you some of the projects that I've been working on. If you are a new viewer, thank you for joining me. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm going to showcase some of the projects that I have. First, before we get started, what I want to do is talk about what I am wearing today. So I have on my Weekender. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. She came out with it a couple of years ago. I've knit this in Cascade 220, and it's a light blue color in case you can't tell right there. What can I say about this? I knit the sleeves bracelet length because I like to wear my watch and some other things. But it's kind of a little too short. I don't feel like I knit the body long enough, so I'm gonna have to block it again, just so that I can get a little bit more length out of the body. If not, I'm thinking I'll test it out today. If I don't like it, I might just take it all apart, reuse the yarn, or maybe I will see about doing some knitting surgery and making it so that the body is a little bit longer. I have a bit of a longer torso, so I just, yeah, I like my shirts or my tops to be a little bit longer on top. I'm sitting on my feet right now, so I'm just gonna move so that I'm a little bit more comfortable. Okay, one other thing I want to showcase today is these earrings that my husband got me from Tofino while we were there. My kids say that they look like the White Claw emblem, but I don't think so. I think that they're just waves and they remind me of the ocean, so that's what I'm gonna go with. So I have one finished object to show with you today. So here it is. There we go. So this is a Flax sweater. The pattern is by Tin Can Knits. This is the size 0 to 6 months, although I'm pretty sure it'll fit a baby for a bit longer than that. I didn't knit the pattern that's usually on the top half of the sleeves. I forwent. What's the word? Forgone? I forgoed knitting the detail pattern. I just wanted to have just a plain knit stitch. And if you can see the dog hair that's on it, I'm sorry. I am going to roll this, like lint roll this. There we go. I'm gonna lint roll this before I send it off to my cousin. She just had a little baby boy and I have a bit of a care package that I wanna send off to her. So since my last episode, this is the only finished knit that I completed. It was like a deep whip dive for that. I was organizing my knitting and I came across this bag that had a baby sweater, and the only thing that was left to do on it were the sleeves. So it was about 25 rounds prior to going to the ribbing. So I thought, okay, Megan, time to hunker down and let's get this done so that you can send it off. Again, I said the pattern is Flax by Flax. Yes, by Tin Can Knits. They just re-released their Simple collection on their website and on Ravelry. It is a free collection, so for anyone who is a new knitter out there, take a look at this collection because the pattern is easy to read and they have tutorials along the way so that you are supported throughout your entire experience knitting the sweater. Okay, so another pattern that I am half finished is my knit sock pattern. If you've watched episode 1 and 2, there's been a couple different renditions of this sock pattern. This is my latest one. I kept the same heel, but I didn't really like the placing of the ribbing on the under arch of your foot. So I just changed up some stitching in there, and then the toe, I decided I didn't want to do a knit one, purl one toe. So instead I just purled for a couple rows before starting the spiral heel, and I really like the definition on, I mean, not the heel, pardon me, a spiral toe. I really like the definition on the toe. I am using Natalie's yarn. It is Blush Yarns and Boutique. This is her Unicorn Dreams colorway, and this is her Ocean Breeze colorway. I believe last episode I called it Sea Breeze. This blue is Ocean Breeze. So you can find her on Instagram as Blush Yarns. She has an Etsy store, and the sock blocker that I'm using is Megan from Burning Impressions, and she is the only sock blockers that I use. Not that I'm opposed to using other people's, but she's local to me and I love the quality of her work, so I'll probably continue to get her sock blockers. And she also has gauge rulers and some other wooden accessories. So this sock I wanted to send out for test knitting, but life has been a little crazy, which I'm going to talk about a bit more with my next work in progress. So between starting work back up after going on vacation and then my kids going back to school, things were a little busy here and I was struggling to find time to write up my knitting pattern. But then let's just show, so then last week I showcased the yarn for this pattern here. I was talking about a friend of mine who, due to illness, she wanted to see if I could adopt a project from her so that I could complete it for a mutual friend. And I'm glad I said yes, because unfortunately this friend of mine passed away a couple weeks ago due to her illness. Yeah, it was kind of, it wasn't totally shocking, just because of the nature of the illness, but I just felt like she asked me to complete this, and maybe by me saying yes, I may have put her mind at ease so that she could, you know, tie off, sorry, there's a fruit fly, so that she could feel like anything that needed completed, so that she could feel like everything was taken care of, and then she was ready to pass away. So yeah, amazing woman. I love her, and I think that it's like her legacy now that I'm knitting on, like a legacy gift to give to this friend of hers who can now wear it in honor of her memory. So anyways, so like I said last time, with her permission, I had taken apart the work that she had done just so that I could get the measurements right for this new project. And what I decided to do was use Lindsay from Standard Knits pattern, the Gambier jacket. It is a beautiful full patterned jacket knit out of super bulky weight yarn, kind of like a cowichan or possibly like a Salish sweater. So what I did was I took her pattern, but I'm not doing the actual knit pattern within the sweater pattern. I'm just knitting it just with one type of yarn. And then instead of making it into a jacket, I'm going to make it into a vest because that's what my friend had requested for her friend. So, so no sleeves or anything. And let me just kind of show you where I'm at. So the first measurement that I'm trying to get to is from the hem to the armpit, have it be 17 inches. And so this is what I have so far. And to speak my truth, knitting with bulky weight yarn is not the easiest. It is a little bit, I find that I get more strain in my wrists and my shoulders and kind of my neck. So what I do is I work on this pattern 30 minutes at a time. I don't feel like I'm getting as much progress as I would like to be getting with this, but just so that I can keep going, I'm just doing it in 30-minute increments. And the yarn that I'm using is this yarn here from Custom Woolen Mills, which is an Alberta mill, and they do have a website. This is their super bulky yarn, and I really like the way it feels. It knits up really good. The gauge that I'm getting matches what Lindsay calls for in her pattern, and what I'm doing a little differently though is that when I start a new row, I slip the first stitch just so that I get a bit more of a neat edge. That way, if we do decide to have a button band instead of a zipper, it'll be easier to pick up. And I lost my other size 11 needle, so I'm using a size 10.75 US and a size US 11 and knitting back and forth. So I only have a couple of inches left before I split for the from the armpit, and then I'll just be working the back stitches and going on to the front and then joining them at the top. So that is that one. Yeah. In case you guys are curious, she when she passed away, it was peacefully. It was in her sleep listening to music, and she had one of her best friends there with her. So just in case you are wondering, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to completing this and being able to pass it on to the intended recipient. So okay, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to tell you the yarn that I knit the flax sweater out of, and I just want to quickly highlight it. This is some Drops Nepal here in the color 8905. I used almost 2 full, this is like 1.5 or 1 3/4 balls of it to knit the flax sweater, and that color is so beautiful. I don't mean to go back to another pattern or another project that I've been working on, but since it is my only finished object for this podcast episode, I did just want to go back and kind of highlight that, because for a commercial yarn, it's soft, it's squishy, it knits up really, really well. And so I would recommend it if you're looking for a sweater yarn and if it's your budget. Okay, so in this project bag holds another work in progress. This project bag was a gift from my dear friend Kellyanne of My Stitching Journal, and she made that, and also this project bag that I'll talk about later. She gifted them to me as gifts for Jackson my anniversary this year, and I love them so much. So my first project, I'm using this Drops drops or Kid Silk Haze yarn. Good thing I know that yarn. And I am using my amazing and wonderful All Points North yarn in the Magnificence colorway. So this is Andy, who is from 100 Mile House. This is her merino sock. And the fact that she named it after me was so cool. And I love how it has been knitting up together with that mohair. So here it is. I am knitting Tin Can Knits Love Note sweater. I am more than halfway done the yoke of the sweater. Don't mind this green yarn right here is just because I used a cable provisional cast on. So let's see. It's kind of like a bit of a hot mess right now because it's on these needles before being done, but I don't have a long enough cable cord for it, but there it is. It's actually going to be worn this way here. Look at how beautiful that lace work is. Tin Can Knits, the patterns that they come out with are really easy to knit. I really love the Love Note. It's knit on size US 10 needles and I believe 7 for the ribbing. I knit one already in a different color for my older twin daughter, and this one is going to go for my younger of the twin daughters. And maybe one day I will be able to convince them, bribe them, however it works, into doing a photo shoot with both of them on, because I think that'd be really sweet, and I love it. It's a quick knit. I am dividing my time, of course, between the Gambier vest hack and this Love Note and my other whip, but the first one that I knit up took about 4 or 5 days. So if you're looking for a quick project, you have some beautiful fingering weight yarn and mohair or some other form of lace weight yarn that you're wanting to hold double, I recommend the Love Note because it is beautiful and it is size inclusive and it's just amazing. So that is my second whip. I guess I should count my sock as a work in progress as well, but it's half done, and yeah, so okay, then the Love Note is my third work in progress. And so now my fourth work in progress. Again, this is a bag. It is the Finch bucket. I think the medium or meaty or however it's worded. This is a pattern by Jade of Stitch Mischief. She dyes yarns. She's located down in the Lower Mainland. She is an amazing maker. Her quilts that she makes and puts on Instagram, they look beautiful. The colors that she dyes are gorgeous. And she came up with this bag pattern and it is awesome. There's pockets in it and everything. So Kellyanne made this for me. And also she just gifted me this cute little Henrietta the Hedgehog pin. So some knitting bling for you. This is from the Clever Clove store. You can find her on Instagram. So the reason why I cast this on, because it might seem a little wild to have 3 sweaters on the go at once, but Tanya at Kateni Made on Instagram, she's having a Caitlin Hunter Boylan Knitworks Hunter Season KAL 2020. So she's having a knit along where you knit any Caitlin Hunter pattern and you can enter into the knit along, whether it be works in progress or new projects that you're starting. And so I decided I was going to partake because who doesn't like a good knit along, right? So I got this yarn from 88 Stitches. Here are the 2 colors there. I purchased these during their customer appreciation day, This color is 3544 if you want to search that in Ravelry or on their website. And this color is 2650. So this is a 100% merino wool, and it is made in Norway. So as you guessed it, or maybe you remember from episode 2, I decided to cast on a Zweig, Zweig. Public service announcement. Wouldn't it be nice if Caitlin Hunter did just a quick Instagram live so that she could go through all of her knitting patterns that she has out that are so beautiful and give us the correct pronunciation of all of them so that I don't struggle personally with how to say them. So here it is right here. What can I say? I'm loving the colors, how they go together. I think this will be perfect for fall. I'm hoping to get this done by October so that I can wear it. Here is this gorgeous lace work here. I love it because she does suggest that between each section of stitches where the lace work repeats that you place stitch markers. So you can see that I have quite a few different ones. These came from Riv Creative. Don't mind that. This came from Riv Creative. These were purchased from a vendor at the Fiber Shindig in Calgary. Not this past spring, but the spring before. And then these pineapples, I can't remember who they are from. Oh, but I know that, I believe that she's from the Lower Mainland as well. Firefly Notes? Firefly Notes. I'm going to link everything that I'm talking about in my description box below. So if I don't have that right, check the bottom and it should be there, pineapple stitch markers. So I am, let's see, probably about halfway done. The lace there. Let's just get like a, sorry if I'm looking up, I'm just seeing where my camera, this is located. Yeah, I'm halfway done the lace paneling or the lace yoke, and then I'll start into the body. When I knit this sweater the first time for my oldest daughter, I did not knit the stitch that's throughout the body and the arms, I believe, but this time I think that I am going to. I believe it's like a little cable stitch that's throughout, and so I'm looking forward to it. I did size down in needles, so for the called for needle size for the ribbing, I went down one size, and the needle size for the body, I went down in needle size. So I believe I went to a size 2 for the ribbing, US 2, and a size US 4 for the body, just so that it has a bit of a tighter gauge. I love it. Her patterns are very easy to read. And if you want to participate in a really fun cal, then go get some yarn, get one of her patterns, and then use the hashtag Hunter Season KAL 2020. So I'm just going to put that back in this bag here with all the yarn. You may notice that I have this weird like bow at the back of my neck. I have nothing to worry about, but I just have been having a couple little heart palpitations that have been kind of worrying me. A couple weeks ago, I went for a run like 4 hours after drinking a Red Bull, and my heart rate peaked at 218 beats per minute. Don't worry, I don't usually drink Red Bull. This was like a once every couple years kind of drink that I had. I was just out at the lake and had a Red Bull, and then when I came home that night, I thought, hey, I'm gonna go for a run, Anyways, so that's what this is. I have to wear it for 24 hours. So I have this holster on right now, and I feel like I'm wearing like a bib or something because of the back bows that are going on right there. That's it for knitting content. One thing I would like to share with you all before I leave or end this podcast episode is this cookbook. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I went to my library, and this was a new book that was on their new release shelf, and so I rented it out and I loved it. I baked a couple things from it, and everything turned out so good. Like the flavors were really there. This book is by Katie Mitzel. She used to be a chef at some backcountry lodges in Canada. And so what she did was she put together a compilation of different recipes that she used while she was at the lodges and that were really popular. Everything in this book that I've made is so good. Last night, there's a recipe in here for these herbed red skin baby potatoes, and this like sriracha garlic aioli chicken. Jeff and the kids loved it. It was so good. I've made some she has like a recipe for smashed potatoes and Hasselback potatoes and pork chops. She has baking recipes in here, salad recipes in here, soup recipes in here. I've made a vegetarian chili that she has in here. She definitely has some like vegan and vegetarian friendly recipes in this book. So if you're looking at adding something to your home library, I would definitely recommend this book. If you aren't sure, go to your local library and rent it. Is that what it's called? Check one out. I think that's what it's called when it's when you take it out of a library. Oh my goodness. One thing that is also on here, because what kind of knitter would I be if I didn't showcase the breads section? So I can't even count on both hands and feet how many makers I see on Instagram that are baking all this like tasty and delicious bread. I want them all to be like my best friends. I wish I lived right beside them so that I could get their breads from them. But she has a simple sourdough starter recipe. It's called the simplest of sourdough starters. So I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to follow this recipe, and hopefully by the next time I podcast, I'll be able to show you my little sourdough starter baby and possibly talk about any bread that I may have baked, whether or not it tastes good or not. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll take some photos. So yeah, but this is my favorite recipe book right now. I've made recipes from it 3 days this week. Each one has been it's been a hit with my family. And let me tell you, having a husband and, 4 kids, all different ages, sometimes it's hard to figure out who is going to like what, but everything that's coming out of this recipe book, they are all loving. So if you're interested, we all got to eat, right? So maybe go pick one up. And so that does it for today's episode. I like every second week being able to podcast, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to do this more. If you would like to, you can hit like and subscribe and all the bells and whistles if you want to know the next time an episode of the 1/4 Cables podcast comes out. Maybe you want to come check in and see how my projects are doing. I just really appreciate having the opportunity to vlog or journal what I'm making, and hopefully a couple of years from now I can look back on this and I can see the progression, because as makers we all want to get better at our craft and take on new crafts. So yeah, anyways, I'll stop babbling on. Thank you again, you guys. I really appreciate that you are here and that you've watched this. And yeah, I hope everything is well with all of you, and take care.